The talents of highly skilled Special Forces personnel do not always translate well into civilian life. However, Blackwater provided a high-paying alternative to the routine jobs that former military personnel usually resort to. Blackwater offered our men $600 per day to work private security in Iraq. More importantly, Blackwater also promised our men certain protections, which were critical in determining whether to accept such a high-paying job to work in a war zone. Our 4 men were told that they would be working in armored vehicles with no less than 6 operators in each detail. There were supposed to be at least 3 people in each vehicle. This would have provided for a driver, a navigator, and a rear gunner who would have heavy machine guns to fight off any attacks. Our men were also told that they would be able to learn the routes through Iraq prior to going on any missions and to conduct a risk assessment of each mission to determine if it was too dangerous to go. Blackwater did not provide our men with any of these protections. It is undisputed that they did not have armored vehicles. They did not have a team of 6. They did not have 3 people per vehicle. They did not have a rear gunner. They did not have heavy machine weapons. They were not able to conduct a risk assessment of the mission. They did not have a chance to learn the routes before going on the mission. In fact, when Scotty asked for a map of the route, he was told, it's a little too late for a map now. Ultimately, all 4 men died before the contract they were working under was even scheduled to begin. Lack of preparation and the strive to make as much money as quickly as possible, even if not 100% ready, is Blackwater's style of business. This style was confirmed just last month when Blackwater's president, Gary Jackson, told the Harvard Business Review, quote, "I constantly push for the 80% solution that is executable now over the 100% solution we might be able to devise in another 3 weeks," unquote. An 80% solution means that 20% of the operators are dead. Blackwater actually lost 9 of its 34 operators in just over 2 months. That means that only 74% survived, which is pretty close to Blackwater's goal of 80%. Our men were told that they would be performing work that would make a difference, such as guarding Ambassador Paul Bremer. Instead, they died escorting empty trucks that were going to pick up kitchen equipment. Once the men signed on with Blackwater and were flown to the Middle East, Blackwater treated them as fungible commodities. For example, Scotty was physically and verbally attacked one night by a Blackwater program manager when Scotty indicated that he was not well enough to leave the following morning on the mission. Despite 2 other Blackwater operators offering to go in Scott's place, the Blackwater manager burst into Scott's room late at night, confiscated his weapon, and told Scotty that if he personally did not go on the mission the following day, he would be fired. It was under this threat of being fired and abandoned in Iraq that forced Scott to leave for Baghdad the following morning. However, late that night, Scott sent his last email. It was addressed to the owner, president, and upper management of Blackwater Security. The treatment of the security operators was so bad that after working for Blackwater for just 11 days, Scott felt compelled to write an email to the owner and president of the company that began, "It is with deep regret and remorse that I send you this email. During my short tenure here with Blackwater, I have witnessed and endured some extreme unprofessionalism," unquote. In this lengthy email, Scott detailed all of the problems with the entire program and the treatment of the operators. There was no response from Blackwater's management to this call for help. Instead, our men were dead 4 days later. After the incident, Blackwater held a small memorial service for our men and the other Blackwater operators who were killed. During our time at the Blackwater compound, there were guards assigned to each of the families. The guards were with us at all times and did not let us speak with the other family members in private. Ultimately, Blackwater refused to tell us anything about how our men died. For 6 months after the incident, Blackwater did not return telephone calls or inquiries about the incident. Ultimately, I tracked down a direct number for Blackwater's owner, Eric Prince. When I called it, Mr. Prince actually answered the phone. We had a brief conversation, and I asked Mr. Prince for a copy of Scott's contract in the incident report. He told me that I should receive them within a couple of weeks. No documents ever came. Although Blackwater told us that we would have to file a lawsuit to obtain a copy of the incident report, Blackwater has done everything possible to prevent the disclosure of any information. During the past 2 years that the lawsuit has been pending, Blackwater has not answered a single question or produced a single document. Instead, Blackwater has applied every single ruling all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. When we attempted to take the deposition of a key witness, Blackwater sent him out of the country just days before his deposition. When he recently returned to the United States after working for Blackwater for the past 2 years, we obtained another court order to take his deposition. Blackwater has now appealed that order as well. Thus far, in our legal quest, Blackwater has hired 5 different law firms to fight us, including such politically connected lawyers as Fred Fielding, White House counsel, and Kenneth Starr. It appears that Blackwater will go to any lengths to prevent us from finding out why our men were killed and to avoid any accountability for its actions. Through it all, Blackwater has never denied that it was obligated to provide our men with certain protections. More importantly, Blackwater has never decided that it did not provide. Wait a minute. Blackwater, excuse me, let me repeat this. Blackwater has never denied that it did not provide our men with these protections. Instead, Blackwater has simply said that it cannot be sued for its conduct. As appalling as it may seem, Blackwater also recently filed a $10 million claim against us for bringing our lawsuit. First and foremost, we are seeking answers from Blackwater as to how and why our loved ones are dead. Why were they not in armored vehicles? Why were they not in a team of 6? Why were there not 3 operators in each vehicle? Why were there not provided heavy weapons? Why were they not permitted to learn the routes in Iraq before going on their mission? Why were they not allowed to gather intelligence from the outgoing security company? Why was the risk assessment not performed prior to that mission? Why were they not given 24 hours notice before their mission? Why were they lost in the middle of Iraq? Why did they drive through the center of Fallujah at a time when even U.S. military would not go through? Why were they lied to about the weapons and projections they would have? In short, why did Blackwater choose to make a profit over the safety of our loved ones? Second, we are seeking accountability for the wrongful conduct of Blackwater. Private contractors such as Blackwater are being paid millions of dollars of our taxpayer money to line their own pockets and jeopardize the safety of the men and women working for them. There needs to be accountability for their conduct. While Blackwater is a private North Carolina company and should be held to answer to North Carolina jury, the government should also create some type of accountability and service and oversight for private contractors. Third, we are seeking to prevent other families from receiving that dreadful telephone call explaining that a father, a son, or a husband has been killed. If the message is sent throughout the industry that private contractors will be held accountable for their wrongful conduct abroad, the companies may devote more attention to the safety of their workers and less to the amount of their profits. Having lost those close to our hearts and then having experienced the callous indifference of Blackwater, we sincerely hope that Congress will take action by creating accountability for the private contractors and not continue to allow them to make millions of dollars at the cost of the American lives.